Hello everybody, welcome back to England's History. I've had a load of people asking me about the Manticore. What settings am I using? Have I changed it? 'Cause I've done some settings a few months ago when I first got it. Yeah, so I've done some tweaks with it. I have changed it. I feel like I've sussed out the Manticore. I'm using it to its full potential. I'm getting in amongst the iron, I'm getting the small targets. It's really producing well. A few different tweaks of what I was using before, and a few techniques that I'm using differently. So yeah, let's go through my settings first. So if anyone wants my settings, I'll put the settings on now. You can go and look at the settings and put them into your Manticore. But after that, I'm going to go in depth then and start talking about why I'm changing things, what to do in the field, etc, etc. What works for me. It might not work for you in your fields, blah blah blah. But I have used these settings in loads of different scenarios. I won't say the machines, but one of the machines was a Manticore setup, slightly different settings that he was using, that he was enjoying. You've got the other top end machines, been out in the field, getting signals, and he's like, oh, listen to this one, dig this, would you dig this one? I'm going, no, not. I can see what you mean, it's got a good signal, but I reckon that's going to be iron. 9 times, it can never be 100%, 9 times out of 10, I was identifying it was a ferrous signal. So I wasn't digging it. So I'm saving 2-3 hours in a day or whatever. You know, the percentage of me not digging that and going on to a better target, I was getting more, more chance of getting more finds. So it's all about saving the time in the field, digging the right signals, and getting more finds. Am I missing some targets? You can never get 100% of the targets, and you never get it 100% right. But if I'm getting 9 out of 10 or whatever percentage of not digging the ferrous signals and digging the next good signal, my finds rate's going up, and my finds rate has gone up since I've started to suss out this machine. So yeah, enough waffle, get into the settings, then we talk about it. Okay, let's go from the settings from top to bottom. General, you want obviously English, vibration off, lighting to suit, soft keys. I have the audio switch on off so I can do my videos. All metal for the top left button, and noise cancel for the top right button. Ferrous indicator, I don't have the red numbers because it puts you off digging targets. Just have the red line underneath, and that's all the settings you need on there. Multi-frequency, always try and use multi-frequency. I find on the Manticore the single frequencies rubbish. I don't think you get the separation and depth like you do with the multi, so always try and use multi-frequency when you can. Audio theme, normal, push edit, go down and turn it to simple. We'll go through Y after. I'll just put all the settings in now. So I'll use a 5-tone program. I've got the first tone set at 1, same as my iron pitch, and it finishes at 2. So that means 0, 1, 2 gives you an iron tone. Anything after that is into your good tones. Tone 2 obviously starts at 3, ends at 24 with a volume of 25. You can change this, but I'll go for that in a minute. Why and when you could change that to suit you in the field. Tone 3 starts at 25, a volume of 25, and it ends at 56, and it's a pitch of 38. Tone 4 starts at 57, a pitch of 45, volume 25, and it ends at 90. And tone 5 starts at 91, volume 25, and a pitch of 45. So there's your 5-tone setup. Ferrous volume 6, which matches the 5 tones, tone 1. You can change that to suit your ears, obviously on the tone volume and on the ferrous, but we go through all that. So yeah, volume 6, and then your pitch of 1, and your stabilizer 0 and off. This is how I would say you should learn the machine 100%. But yeah, we'll leave that. I'll just leave that off. Learn your machine. But we go into that. These are customized Ferris limits. So, an easy way of doing it is the top one and bottom one are just 8 notches down. But that will be a Ferris limit 17, target RD of 30. But you just do, if I edit it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just do that all the way across, all the way across. But your first one, you bring it down. So you bring that into 2 as well. So you go from 0 to 2 and just bring your line all the way down. Same as the bottom one, 0 to 2 and bring your line all the way up. And that just eliminates all the falsing on coke and minerals and stuff. Discrimination pattern, you do the same again. You'd set that at 0 to 2, so then anything after 2 is a digger. Recovery speed 6. Generally use 6. If you want to go a bit deeper, I'll go down lower. If the grain allows it, go down to 4. I wouldn't go no lower than 4 because you start to get mixed up signals and it confuses the hell out of the machine. But you could go lower if you wanted to, as long as there's no iron at all. But yeah, generally use 6. I wouldn't go lower than 4. And if you're using really heavy hot iron contamination, you'd go up to 7 or even 8. You lose depth, obviously, the higher you go up with the recovery speed, but the separation is phenomenal. But generally use 6. The grain balance, that's a tricky one. Right, I would use 0 for most of my searching, unless the machine was telling me that there was mineralization affecting the performance of the machine. Then I wouldn't do an auto grain balance. I'd manually adjust it. If you do an auto grain balance, 9 times out of 10 I've found with a Manticore, it creates more falsing, more high pitch falsing. So that's an indication that your grain balance is too high, because you get the high pitches. If your grain balance is too low, you get the low grunts. So you need to manually adjust it till you get an in between. So it's not too high pitch, not too low pitch. It's in the middle. So that's balanced to the mineralization. But generally I leave it at 0 unless I need to do a change. Noise cancel, just do that in the filter suite. 1 push of that. And there's the noise cancel done. If you're still getting interference and it's still playing up, then you can hold it down until your number locks onto a target for like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, noise cancel, generally just tap it once, and that should resolve the problem. And all terrain fast, this is the main one I use. That is brilliant for most scenarios. If you wanted to get super separation for tiny targets, you can use low conductor, but by using low conductor you're also introducing more falsing because of the higher kilohertz. This is just what I found, obviously that can vary, but all terrain fast seems to do everything I need it to do. And then your volume to suit you, 24, 25. Sensitivity is a massive thing with the Manticore, but generally you usually run it about 24 to 26, but depends on the field. If you're in the field, but we go into that after, this is just the settings. So yeah, sensitivity 24, 25, 26 depending on the field. And then I would use horseshoe off. You still, if you have the horseshoe on, you don't hear the iron. Horseshoe off, you anywhere you've put your Ferris limits. So that is going to give you an iron tone. And that's the settings. I won't keep waffling on. I'll waffle on in a minute. But yeah, that's the general settings for the new settings for the new program that I've been using. Right then, we'll give some waffle now for you if you want to learn a bit more. Right then, now we're going to start doing a bit of waffling. Let's have a look at the screen. Okay, so if you're in the field, the first thing you need to try and suss out is where to set the sensitivity. If your machine's doing that, it's too hot. Obviously it'd be better in the field because you're not getting the EMI, but you generally want that to be stable. Once it's stable and you're over a clean bit of ground, you can then sort of hold it. So that settles at 5. See how quickly it settled at 5. So find a general, so find a stable sensitivity before you do a noise cancel, otherwise you're not going to get a true elimination of EMI and falsing. So that's your sensitivity set. Then you check the ground, you've done the ground balance if need be, and then you're ready to go. As you're swinging the coil, this is that's a big thing with the Manticore. So you've set it all up, you're ready to go, you're going along, you're swinging your metal detector. If your machine is dead silent, 9 times out of 10, it's because your sensitivity is slightly too low. So up it 1. If you up it and then you start to get that, you know it's picking up on the mineralisation, so you know you're just punching into that ground just nice. If your sensitivity is way too high, instead of being, so silence is too low, the little tiny, you can hear the iron tone, that's where I find that the sensitivity is perfect. If you've got your sensitivity too high, them grunts turn louder and you get the high pitches, and it's just driving you mad. Oh God, there's iron everywhere. 9 times out of 10 it's not iron, it's the mineralisation and EMI falsing off, and it just sends the machine bonkers. If it's doing that and you keep getting the high pitches, you'll start to lose targets as well, because you can't fathom out what's going on with the machine and what's true and what's not. So you could have banging signals will still bang out, but if you've got the little faint signals, you're going to start losing them signals, because it's popping and crackling on everything. You can't hear them. It sounds just like all the chirping going on with the machine. So you need to stabilise your machine as best you can. With identifying iron, that's the tricky one, isn't it? I've got to a stage now where I'm identifying iron very well. And the best way to know if you're identifying iron correctly is with other machines by you. If they get signals that they think are iffy and you go over at the Manticore, you'll get that you'll get that little chirp coming through, but it hasn't got that crispness. It hasn't got that. It's hard to explain to people what you're listening for. But after using it for like solid 3 months now or more, you just get that. It's just a sweet spot on that audio, and you just know when it's a digger. Also on the 2D mapping, what you'll get, I'll do a little video now. I've got some iron out in the garden. I'll get it to false on the iron, but then I'll put a little cut half or something next to it. If it's falsing on iron, you'll get it up in the 40s, and you'll just know that it's falsing on iron. But if you're getting that falsing on iron, but there is a good target next to it, you'll get like an indication. And it could be a little tiny faint signal that it shows up a circle at the bottom left on screen, or the bottom of the ferrous limit where I've added the ferrous limit. It's a little signal on there, and that's identifying there's 2 targets. Big lump of iron. I've put some water on it so it's more conductive. See it just breaking through the upper ferrous limit. This is the coin on its own. Coming up there. 45 is the iron. Chirping through. Can you hear it's crackly? The signal's clipped at the end. So let's put the hammer coin there now. Just an inch or so away from the iron. Hear that low tone coming in with that. Instead of it a choppy iron signal, high pitch 46, you've now got that whoop, whoop, low tone coming in, and that's a digger. So you get that funny signal as you're going across a hot spot, and then you hone in to where that low tone is, so you get that. It's coming exactly where it should. Slightly pulled around and not a solid circle, but it's and it's still showing up the odd a bit of iron coming up there. When you hone in on the targets, you get. So you get the signal. That's what you're listening for. That's the extreme signals. All your banging signals and bang through perfect. That's the extreme signals that you're listening for in the field. Let's see what happens with stability now. Stabilizer. Let's start off at 12. Hear it trying to filter it out. It's strangulated. I'm strangling the signal. Let's try at 8. It's showing on the screen it's trying to come to there, but the audio is still a high pitch signal. That's interesting. I haven't even done this test, I'm just doing it now. Let's try 4. I think that might be a bit better. Yeah. Can you hear it separating the targets now? It's not blending it all into one and making it an obvious iron false. And if I put it onto 0, just gets stronger and stronger and stronger the less you use it. Yeah, this is a horrible extreme bit of iron. It's going to false on any machine. Most machines will false with that, especially that'll wet it, so it's more conductive. So what we're listening for is not the high pitch, is the iron grunt, the low grunt of the hammered coin. Not getting it. Stability off. Yeah, that's definitely better. You wouldn't dig it if it wasn't for if the stability was on. Let's try 2. Just a stability 2. That should get it. Even stability 2, it's really struggling. Stability 1. Stability 0. That's when you're pushing the machine. This is all about pushing a machine to the extremes. Most machine, the Equinox 800. If you don't push the Manticore, you might as well have an Equinox 800, because that's the point of having the Manticore. You want to get that extra bit out of it that no other machine can get, and the main way of getting that extra power, most of the power out of the Manticore, is learning them iffy signals that you've got to chase, and especially on Roman patches. Is that a signal? And you can hear big iron coming up at the top of the screen. But at the bottom of the screen, like, you'll get iron coming up there, right at the top. Let's turn it on so you can see it easier. You'll get iron coming up in the 40s up there, building up a circle, and then you'll get like a little dots coming down the screen. And where I've set this bottom ferrous limit, if you get a little halo and it's a little tiny faint circle coming up on the bottom Ferris limits, normally it's down the left hand side, down this bottom end, that could be 2 targets in the hole. And I've done it plenty of times now where it's been non-ferrous in the hole. You dig the hole out, you go, oh, there's a bloody nail there, put it on the side, put it in your pocket, go over the hole again, and then that iron's gone from the top, but you're still getting that little faint signal that was down at the bottom. You're still getting that. Dig it out, little Roman coin. Oh, that's impressive. But you've got to learn to listen to them, listen to what the machine's telling you, because you can easily miss them targets. So yeah, that's why I've got this bottom Ferris limit across the bottom. Anything that goes inside that, it's never 100%. You know, it's not like that is definitely non-ferrous or that is definitely ferrous. But if it sits on that top and it won't sink below that line, it's 9 times out of 10 that's a non-ferrous target. If it comes down and it's sitting down here, that's where your bottle caps come in and crap, big iron and stuff. But if it sits on that top, 9 times out of 10, it's a non-ferrous target. Worth digging. With the new update, we've been given the option to use stability. The stability, the stability is brilliant to help people not dig the big square top nails and stuff like that. But that's if you've not got the experience with the Manticore. If you've been using the Manticore and you use it like I've been using it with these settings, you can identify it with your ears better than the stability. What stability does, it dumbs it down. So if you've got, it gets rid of iron. It gets rid of the iron. It gets rid of the tricky iron signals that are chirping through. But for that to get rid of those chirpy signals, it's got to have a knock-on effect, and you will be losing targets. Yes, it's going to be the tiny little targets that I was just on about, that are just coming down the bottom of the screen, that's mixed up with iron and stuff like that. But going back to what I said before, if you've got the Manticore and you want to get the most out of it, why dumb it down so you can't get them extreme targets that you can't get for any other machine? Well, maybe the Deus 2 when it's set up perfect, but this Manticore, you get that iron signal, but when you get that, you've got the high pitched chirp 40s coming through, and you know it's going to be big iron or square top nails and stuff like that. But you can also get that the little faint signal coming through, the little low tone. You can hear the 2 targets. If you've got the stability on and it's a tricky target, that's gone. You won't hear that. So you're losing performance from the Manticore by having too higher stability. If you're just trying to suss out the machine and you want to use stability, I'm not saying stability is not good, it is a brilliant feature, but you are losing some targets. I would never go above 3 or 4. As soon as you start to go above 3 or 4, you're losing more and more. The higher you go with the stability, so I've got no stability on, I'm getting the target like that. There's iron here and a good signal there, and I can hear the 2. You start adding stability, the trickier that becomes. No, you start adding stability, even targets that would have been banging with 0 stability can start to be lost. So yeah, it's going to help you stop digging as much iron, but it's also going to hinder you in losing some of those iffy targets that you would have dug with 0 stability. So yeah, stability is good, but beware of what you're missing. Okay, back to what I was saying then about my settings. I use normal, simple. If you're using anything different, I'm not, anyone use whatever they bloody want to, but this is what I use and the reason why. Normal gives you a banging signal. It's a bit like the Equinox. You've got no filtration on it, you've got no adjusting, it's not changing it in any way, you're getting a pure signal. As soon as you go to rich, the profile is more like an audio gain. Rich is going to give you a banging signal down to halfway, and then it's going to fade off if your target's at the bottom. Medium, so rich So rich finished there. With medium, you're going to get a banging signal down to about there, and then it's going to fade off. So it's trickier to get these deeper targets. And then simple, you're going to get a banging signal all the way down, and it's going to fade off the last inch and a half, which is the same as the way the Equinox 800 used to work. And it's just the way it just performs. Why? There's reasons you would use rich. You would be able to identify the deeper targets. So if you was going across a pasture field or across a field where there was loads of modern trash on the top, generally pasture because it hasn't been played through, you could ignore the banging signals which come to there, and then anything that's deeper than what these banging signals are will start to give you a faded off signal. So then you know that you're getting a deeper target because it sounded quieter. Instead of there, beep 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 beep, it'll go beep 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 beep. So you could listen out for these beep 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 beep. You know you're going deeper. Enough of them beeps anyway. So yeah, that's why I would use simple. The 5 tones, I've explained the 5 tones. What I will explain is, so yeah, we've got rid of the iron coming up at 2. Anything after that, as you come into the low conductor, is it stands out because you've got all the high pitching, which could be for falsing. All the small targets are going to be going whoo, 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 that nice low tone. If you're in the field, you can change that low tone to as high as you want. I wouldn't go as higher than say 35, 36, because then you're introducing the iron falsing into the low tone. Generally I'd use about 24, 25. And most of your small little Romans, small hammer coins, even larger hammer coins like penny size and stuff, are going to come up in that range. You could have the iron chirping off, and then you get that hoo, hoo, hoo. It just jumps out at you. The only negative I would say about the Manticore is where the iron falsing is. This is for the tricky signals, remember. Where the iron falsing comes in the 40s, if you've got a tricky signal also in that range of the 40s, it's going to sound like the iron, and you're going to miss them targets. There's nothing you can do about it unless it's a banger. So you could use stability, but the stability is only going to give you the bangers, so you'd hear that anyway the way it's set up. So yeah, that's my only negative of the Manticore, is wherever the iron falsing is, say 46, say from 40 to 50, 40 to 48, if you've got targets that are tricky coming at 40 to 48, it's going to sound like iron falsing, unless it was a banger that was on the centre line and it would jump out between the two. But you can lose some of the targets, but that's metal detecting. You can't dig everything. There's no machine out there that's perfect for every signal, for every target. But yeah, so then my point with this was, you can adjust your low tone to wherever you want. If you're getting nuisance targets coming in 28, 20, you can drop it right down to 12 or wherever you want. But generally, these are the settings I will use for most of my searching. Not very often I do change from it. So yeah, that's explaining a bit about the low tone. Stabilizer we've just gone through, 0 off. Just get used to that. Get used to that and learn what their mind signals sound like. Done the customise, discrimination, self-explanatory, recovery speeds, we've gone through. So, like I've briefly mentioned before, the search modes, all-terrain fast and all-terrain general are the same. It's just that they're pre-programmed, they are slightly different because you've got different recovery speeds, etc, and different tones and that, but they run off the same kilohertz. So you can base this program that I'm telling you now off all-terrain general or all-terrain fast. I've based it off fast and it's working sound. You could use low conductor. Low conductor is very, 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 very good at getting the tiny little targets because it uses the higher kilohertz. The only negative effect of when you're using the higher kilohertz is targets can be masked by coke easier, so you're losing targets if you're using ultra low conductor. And also, by using the higher kilohertz, you're introducing more falsing on the iron, so you'd have to drop your sensitivity, etc., faster recovery speeds. It's harder to identify the tricky signals, but the all-terrain low conductor is, in bench testing, you'd put low terrain or low conductor. You use in bench testing, if you use low conductor, it's the one that comes out on top. But from what I've done in the field, intense testing, the all-terrain general fast comes out on top every time. You can identify iron easier. You're not digging as much crap. You're on to the next signal while the other man's digging the iron. All-terrain fast is the one for me. And then volume is what it is. So that's my settings on the Manticore. It's been working for me. It's been working really, really well. You've just got to learn them tiny nuances with the Manticore. Will go out there. You'll get signals. You'll be bap, 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 bap. You'll be banging the signals. 90% of the signals will be so obvious it's easy to detect, and the machine's absolutely amazing. Where the Manticore, I believe, is getting targets that other machines won't get is when you're really listening for them funny signals, you're chasing it. You've got to learn the differences between the funny signals of iron, where you can ignore. Even the 2D screen you can't rely on. Use your ears, make your mind up, think. You get that bip, 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 and it's a strong signal. Strong, you know, it's a solid, it sounds solid. You might have the iron signal coming round with it, but you can get it to go bip, 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 bip. Then you make your mind up what if you're going to dig it or not. Then you look at your screen as a backup and you think, oh, I wouldn't have dug that. I'll dig it, see what it is. Or, yeah, that's what I can hear in my ears. It's telling me on the screen. Just because you get a target ID at the top, if it's hard to explain. The target ID at the top is normally in the 40s, 41, 46, something around there. That's normally your iron. The more concentrated it is at the top, the more likely that is going to be iron. The more it starts to come away from that top circle, where it should be if it's solid iron, more it starts to stretch. You could have a stretch across the screen, like going from there down to there. That's more likely that it's going to be a non-ferrous target. But it also depends on what it's doing in your ears. They're never 100%. You can never say that's definitely a good target, that's definitely a ferrous target. You don't know. There's no machine out there that can tell you 100% what's in the ground. The obvious signals are going to be obvious. The tricky ones is where you've got to learn it. What I found is the way I've got my settings at the minute, I'm pretty accurate at identifying ferrous and non-ferrous. I'm not 100%, I know that. Some of the targets I walk away from could be good targets, but you can't get everything out of the ground when it's been played. If you come on it from that angle, going straight across, and you go over the signal, you could get a beep, 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 dig it easy. Or it could be one that you think, that's a bit iffy, I'll dig it. Any other angle you've walked across that field, it might just go burp, 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 or it might sound really irony and choppy and stuff like that, and you might miss it. So if you're on a hot patch, if I get a target, I always do a bullseye, and then I go around it again if I get a good item that I want to check. But then you should also go up and down, left and right, and diagonals on mega hot patches, just to try and get the advantage on that target, because you know for a fact the iron is eliminating some of them targets for you, and you can never get on first pass. No machine will get it first pass. No machine will get all of the targets first pass. You've got to go from every different angle. But yeah, I hope that helps. I hope I haven't baffled your brains too much. There's a lot going on there. The main keys, once you've got your audio tones to suit you and your tone breaks and stuff like that, You choose your mode, which I would use all terrain fast. Then you do your tone breaks and your tones. You can use 2 reason, 1. You can use whatever you want. It's all in the ears, that is. But I like my 5 tone, so I'll set my 5 tone, set my tone breaks. I'm happy with that. So you don't need to change any of that. Then you could leave that all the same. So you get used to your machine, and the main things you'll be changing in the field, which makes it simple once you've set all that up and you're happy, is recovery speed and sensitivity, and maybe a ground balance. It's a simple machine once you've got it tuned in how you want it. The sensitivity, run it as high as you can without it falsing too much. Don't run it too low that you can't hear no grumble. You want to hear that so you know it's just on the edge of, it's not falsing, but it's just on the edge, so you're running maximum performance. If you've got it too high and it's going beep, 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 and it's falsing off the iron too much, you're obviously going to lose targets that way. So it's a balancing act. Set your sensitivity so it's just right, and just got that. I have the iron audio so I can hear it, the horseshoe off, so you can hear that. And that, but if you had the iron horseshoe on, you wouldn't know where to set your sensitivity properly. You just do it off the high pitch false, and you wouldn't hear the grumble, so you wouldn't know the in between. So I like to have the horseshoe off. I can hear all the iron. It tells me where I've got a sensitivity then, and then I know that I'm running at maximum performance. And obviously you suit that with the, as you sweep the coil, if you're getting lots of iron, it could be iron or it could be minerals, whatever it is, it's affecting the machine. If there's a lot of it, you can up your sensitivity to suit the ground, to suit the signals, and your sweep speed. That's another main thing, is your sweep speed and your sorry, someone's ringing. Your sweep speed and your recovery speed and your sensitivity is key, that you tune into the field that you're on. If you've got your sensitivity and recovery speed too low, and if you've got your sensitivity and recovery speed too low, and you're swinging too fast to the ground, you're going to be losing targets because it hasn't got time to get in between. So you need to listen to what's going on in the ground through your ears, adjust the sensitivity and recovery speed to suit, and then slow your reactivity, your swing speed to suit what's going on in the ground. Mega balancing act on it, but it's all good fun. It's all good, all about learning the machines, all about, you know, having fun out in the field and finding the most that you can. You can't get too hung up about, I want everything out of that field, because it'll never happen. The Manticore has got lots of really good preset programs. If you're just getting out, just starting out on the Manticore, use the preset programs. Don't try and run it too hard. Keep it nice and easy. Learn the machine, learn its language, and then as you've sussed out the machine, you start to get confident with it. Then you start to tweak it to suit the field. My settings aren't the be all. You know, you can't just put them settings in and just that's it. Don't change nothing. That's going to work perfect on all the fields, because that's not the case. You've got to learn, go through the manual, look at all different. Luke, can't remember his proper name. He's on the Minelab Facebook groups. He's really talented. He's clued up at what he's doing with the Manticore. He's got lots of videos out there, so watch his videos. There's other people on YouTube, watch their videos. Marky Mark's just started getting into the Manticore. He's going to be doing some videos. And just take little bits of information off everybody that you're watching and try it out in the field for yourself, and try and balance the machine and get it so it's, you don't want it dead stable, dead silent, because you know you're not running to its max. This is as you advance. So you want it to be just chirping, just nicely, without too many high faults in, just so you can get in amongst it and get as much as you can out of the ground. But yeah, don't just put anyone's program in and that's the whole holy grail. Like, you've got to put, like I said, you've got to set it up to suit your ears, so tone breaks, everything like that, and then adjust the finer things to get the most out of the machine. Right, enough waffle. I'll let you get out in the field and try these settings out. See you soon, folks. Hope you smash it. Hope you find some goodies. Let me know, like, in future videos or on Facebook, anything like that. Drop me a comment. If there's anything else you want to know about the Manticore and how to use it, if I can help you, I'll happily help you. If I know, I'll always say. And enjoy the machine. Whatever machine you're using, enjoy it. Have fun. Go out and find the goodies. See you later. I'll stop waffling now. Let you go on. Ta-ra.